Welcome to the Shane Wolf Show. Great to have you here. Thanks for liking and subscribing, everyone. And if you haven't, please do. We are here with Tricia Munn, who is a cyber safety expert. She's a managing director for Eyes Open, which deals with cyber safety in schools for children. And she also trains parents, teachers. Who else do you train?
Community services, businesses, all around being safe on social media.
Right. I guess you're quite busy visiting schools all the time.
Yes, we have been going into schools since 2012. In fact, yesterday was actually the anniversary of my first fully paid presentation, so 11 years ago yesterday. But I've been going in and out of schools to all over Queensland, all over Australia, teaching kids how to be safer on social media.
Well, congratulations. 11 years is a long time.
Yeah, pretty proud of it actually.
Right. So what's some of the biggest issues that you see with cyber safety for children?
For children. So there's a lot of things that go wrong. There's the big hitting topics are cyberbullying, predators or grooming online. There's also scams, identity theft. There's when they go to get a job, their digital footprint comes into play. 93% of employers here in Queensland will look you up online before giving you a job. And 63%, just for a few stats, 63% won't give you a job if they can't find you.
That seems high.
Yeah. So if they can't find you, and so people think if I just fly under the radar and I'm not seen, then that'll help. But 63% of employers won't give them a job if they can't find them. So it's really critical to find a balance.
Is there any reason for that?
Yeah, because they think that you're trying to hide something. They want to be able to have a look to see there's a few things they look for. They look for if you're a culture fit. So, what are you going to bring to their organisation? They also want to see red flags, like if there's some reason why they shouldn't employ you, they want to see that. So some are specifically looking for the good things, like what can you bring to the table? What fun things are you going to bring into or important things are you going to bring into our organisation? And others actually, it can be a bit of a get rid of you off the pile of applications because, they don't want to read 300 applications. So some of them will actually look at you before they even go through the applications to say, we'll take you off because we've already decided you're not the culture fit. So that's the quick part of their job, and then they go through the applications that are left. Yeah.
So I will say, if you are a parent, an auntie or an uncle, you probably want to watch this episode all the way through. So what age do children start to get onto social media?
Oh, it can be as early as 2. They're handheld devices.
I was grimacing when I asked that question.
It's way earlier than people think. Children are being given handheld devices from a very, very young age. And if they're playing on a game where there's a chat function, they could be playing in the space of social media. When they actually become aware of it and actually start talking to people, kids are playing Minecraft, so they're very young. They're very young.
At 2?
4, they're probably interacting. Yeah, some kids are interacting so they're in the space. Like if they're playing a game on their parent's phone, often there will be that capacity for a chat. And if they're playing games that are internet connected, they could be in a space where there is the ability for social interaction. They're not socially interacting at 2, but as soon as they're able to read or even use the microphone to send a message, they can be doing that.
Yeah, right. What do you tell parents about that?
It's really, really important that if we're going to hand our children internet-enabled devices, that we should be looking at putting parental controls on there and starting the conversations around appropriate use. So, as we've got a young child, and when she was very, very young, she picked up a Barbie camera that didn't actually take photos, but she picked it up while I was getting her changed after the bath, and I immediately just said, "Oh, no, we never have cameras near people without their clothes on. And so that education needs to come really early, because an internet-enabled device that has a camera those photos could go way further than anybody expects. So the education needs to start the moment that or even before they're being handed the devices. So,
and I guess like if there are games that you can use offline, like if you were giving
100%.
your child your phone, like put it on flight mode or something like that.
Put it on flight mode, or your phone, like even my phone, is set up with the strict controls that I turn off when I'm using it. But if I am in a restaurant and my child's the only child there, if the other children are there, they should be playing with the other children. So you won't see my child with an internet or with a device when other children are around. But if she's the only one, I will flick my phone over to the strict controls, and then she can watch a movie or play a game. So, yeah. Right. There's a flick of it. It's a toggle. You set it up and then you just toggle it on. You just turn it on at the time that you need it on.
And you go to schools and teach children about safe ways to be on the internet. What age are they like carrying phones to school?
Yeah. Some children, I know my child started asking in about grade 1. She was saying other kids have devices. I think year 5 and 6 is kind of the norm now. A lot of children do have them before leaving primary school. It used to be more sort of the first year of high school when they were travelling on their own, but grade 5, 6 is sort of where it's at now. A lot of kids are getting it. That does not mean that you need to give your child a phone. They do not need a phone if they don't need a phone. If they don't need to be able to call parents or whatever, if you can hold off, I certainly would.
Just hold off as long as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because grade 5 or 6 puts them at around 10 or 11 years old. Is that right?
Yeah. That's right.
When you have children in their teens, like I'm assuming this becomes a bigger problem.
Yes. The other issue with children, there's a safety aspect. The other thing that I'm very passionate about is the addiction to screens. And we've actually just embarked on 3.5 years of research with, we partnered with RMIT to actually research both cyber safety and addiction.
And sorry, just for our viewers, who are they? What do those initials stand for?
Oh, sorry?
What do those initials stand for?
RMIT is the university down in Melbourne, the RMIT University.
Right.
Yeah, so we had some graduate students that needed to do some prac. So we were blessed with being able to work with them to do research into the topic. And with addiction comes, people sort of think, well, if somebody's addicted to their screen, they're going to spend more time on there and therefore their risk is greater just because of the time. But it actually goes a lot deeper than that. Addicted people who are addicted to their screens are actually suffering the effects of addiction, which can be isolation, vulnerability, loneliness, and that contributes directly into their level of risk, because a vulnerable person online is the first to get exploited. So, when we're talking about teenagers, they do become very heavily dependent on their phones. They are starting to overuse their devices, and their need to be there, their feeling of isolation within groups can be exacerbated by screen use, and then their risk goes up. So they can fall prey to all of the things, scams, predators, and cyberbullying is massive in young teens. So cyberbullying is actually massive with adults as well. With
adults as well, isn't it? Especially the ones that live in their parents' basement.
Oh, yeah.
Talking to you.
And how gross can those community pages be sometimes?
Wow.
They can
I'm not
just
even
be
on
so
Twitter.
Nasty.
Twitter's
horrible.
Is a weird place.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that.
It's a place that I don't want to be.
Yeah.
So the sooner that falls to shit, the better.
Yeah. I do find Twitter quite full on. Yeah. But so are the Facebook community groups. I don't know how much you've seen of those.
I've seen some odd things pop up and you might be just on a site that is like buy, swap and sell, in this in this local area,
Yeah.
and then someone with a fake account will be there and just post some weird stuff.
Or even if they're not, they don't even have to be a fake account. Like somebody might be just trying to sell something and, I'm not interested in buying that, so you scroll past. But some people feel the need to actually
comment.
And just be nasty. Like it's full on. It's full on. So we're trying to teach children not to cyberbully, but they're seeing they're adults.
Yeah.
Not only, nasty interactions on community pages, but also having their say about those reality TV shows. And that's cyberbullying too, just because you don't like the person on maths doesn't mean we need to, vilify them on social media. So,
That's a good point for the adults out there also.
To be mindful that children are watching.
Well, yeah.
And they don't make that difference. They don't see that difference. The children see parents watching a reality TV show and then blasting about it on social media. And the kids then repeat that behaviour, but towards someone at school. Next thing they're in the principal's office, their parents coming up and getting really upset at them. And they're like, but hey, I learnt this. This is a learnt behaviour. So, it is quite confusing for children.
Yeah.
Role modelling.
It's important. They monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, very important.
Children, they're on these devices. They're getting I'm assuming a massive dopamine hit from whatever they're doing on there.
Big time.
The stimulation, and then they get addicted to that. And then is there forms of depression that could be caused from this, when it's taken away from them?
Anger issues is actually probably the thing that plays out. One of the questions I always ask in schools is I say, who's having issues with their parents or arguments or discussions around screen use? And the kids all put up their hand and I say, who thinks their parents use their devices too much? And the kids, you should see how fast those hands go up. They're almost hitting the roof because the kids, they're angry. They get angry. They're going, my parents are always on me about it. And yet here I am trying to get my parents' attention and they're on their devices. They are getting a massive dopamine hit, and the effects of that dopamine hit can be that isolation, sleep deprivation, because dopamine takes a period of time to actually be worked through your body. So your brain takes time to get rid of the dopamine. So if you're on your screen right before you go to sleep, you actually don't sleep. You don't get quality sleep for 2 to 3 hours after you go to sleep. So, that sleep deprivation, the fatigue that comes with that, when you're tired all the time, constantly, that does lead into feeling really down and depressed. And anxiety can be coming from the fact that everything that we're looking at is filtered, and we can know in our clear brain, we can know that this stuff is filtered. But when you're seeing it constantly, your brain just starts to feel inadequate. You start looking, I don't look like that. And you get a constant feed of everybody looking amazing when they wake up. And you look in the mirror and you think, I don't look amazing when I wake up. And your brain starts to lose its perception that this is filtered. That's not reality. So, that plays into depression and anxiety.
I mean, that happens with adults also, where they just use filters on their photos all the time.
Yeah.
That's not reality.
Yeah. No, it's not reality.
Yeah.
And it's really, it's sad that we need to do that. I mean, I take photos outside schools when I turn up to a school. I don't do it so much anymore, but for quite a few years, I'd turn up to the school and stand in front of the sign and take a photo. And those photos are so not flattering. They're so not flattering. I'm often squinting and, but I put them up anyway. So.
I mean, back in the day, you'd get 24 shots in a roll of film and then maybe only 3 of them would come out, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, they actually say that the average number of photos that somebody takes before posting to social media is 12.
12?
Yeah. So you take 12 photos and then go through them.
I'm happy to say I am nowhere near that.
Yeah.
I'm on the low end.
But you're
Not
so,
even
because
close.
you're so photogenic.
It's
Shane.
not that. It's because I don't care.
I know you never have said, "Hey, can you move that camera?"
Yeah, can you just do that again? But this time stand at this angle.
Yeah, exactly.
You know when you open your phone and it's by accident on the reverse camera and you go, oh.
Yeah. Do you know, I did that once. I was standing talking to somebody and I said, oh, I'll show you, and opened up and the camera was on. And they went, oh, don't you hate it when you get that angle? That was really embarrassing because I did look really bad, down here.
But it was nice of them to notice.
Yeah, thanks for pointing it out. Thanks for reminding me that that's a terrible angle.
So how do you teach children, the effects?
How do we teach them?
Yeah, that's the question.
Well, actually, there's a bit of, sometimes I cause a bit of a stir. It can be quite confronting. So when I go into a school, I research the school before I go there. So I look up the school on social media, and when I find students that go to that school in the public forum, I take a screenshot. And then when I get 200 screenshots, so I won't do it if I've only got if I can only find a few students. That's never the case. I can always find lots. Right. If I haven't been there before, I find lots.
Like literally never. It's never the case. You've never had.
I've never had a school that's. I had one that was a bit more difficult. One that was a bit more difficult. One.
And so that's a good result.
That was a bit more difficult, but I still found enough to make a video. So I get all the screenshots and I put them up popping on the screen, and really quickly they're flashing. So it's so that the kids will see it and they will recognise themselves, but nobody can focus on any particular screenshot. So that I also explain that the school's not going to get cross, or that this is their opportunity to change. But the reason that I do this, it is confronting that somebody has come along who doesn't know anybody at the school, who's taken some screenshots of their profile photos and made a video. They get confronted by it. But if I walk in there and I say, hey, I'm here to teach you cyber safety, the kids roll their eyes and they go, oh, I've heard this so many times before. We know what we're doing. And then when I show them the video, they get that they don't know. And then I go, but I'm not doing this to embarrass you. I'm doing this so that you get that we need to make some changes. Now, here's the things that you do. So the big difference with what we do is we don't just go in there and tell the kids what the problem is and tell them to fix their privacy settings. We go in there, tell them what the problem is and tell them they need to fix their privacy settings, but then we come back and we walk them through step by step by step how to do their privacy settings.
Well, that changes all the time, doesn't it? Through whatever platform.
Yeah. But what we do is we teach them, so we go, this is the information that puts you at risk. This is how you might be inadvertently or accidentally giving it away. And then this is how to fix it on one particular social media site. And so we go through a site and we go through step by step by step on all the things that they need to make private and how to set that account up. Then we come back a week or two later and we do that again, but a different site. So they get the message of what puts them at risk and how they accidentally give it away. They get that 3 times. So we come back 3 times. We do 3 different sites. And we do, so they get the what puts them at risk 3 times, but then they get to apply it to 3 different sites, which gives them that rote learning and
reinforcement.
That reinforcement. And then they can, when that next time they go to start a social media site and they go, oh, I want to fly under the radar. I don't want my teachers to find me, or I don't want my parents to find me. So I'll drop my drop my last name. The default is often that they'll swap their last name for their middle name.
So they're giving that extra information out there, aren't they?
Which is identity theft. It's a prime piece of information for identity theft. So once they've done this process, they start learning to, even when they're starting up any social media site, they can reapply what they've learnt to those different sites. Yeah.
And where are the sites that young children generally gravitate to?
Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram are the top 3. And they've been the top 3 for quite some time. Right. They're on a lot of different sites. Like people say, we should do all these other sites. But that's 3 top ones. There's, in any school that I go to, the majority of kids will have access to those sites. And then they have all these other, apps and games and things that they play. But those are the three with lots of information and lots of opportunity for learning. So that's the three. We also do Facebook for later years. So sort of year 10, 11, 12 is where lots of them have Facebook accounts by that stage.
Right. So they're on Instagram before they're on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Facebook's not cool because the parents are there.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you are a parent, get on to Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. No, TikTok. Get on TikTok.
Right.
And you'll be cooking in no time.
I've avoided that just because I don't need another thing to do.
No, and TikTok is a rabbit warren. It is so good. It is so good. The content.
I'll be stuck there.
Oh, the content. Yeah, the nights I don't turn up to open mic, I'm on TikTok.
Right.
Dan comes home and I'm in the kitchen cooking and he says, "Oh, you've been doing TikTok screenshots today," because it's screenshot, scroll. Oh, I like that recipe.
All right.
Next thing I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got lots of cooking, lots of craft. Love it.
Yeah. So why are these sites popular for kids? Is it because they're short form content?
Yes. Short attention span and short form. Yeah. So they've got a short attention span, so they are short form content. It's also that there aren't the parents. There isn't that heavy parents monitoring and presence, and that's where all the other kids are. So they stay there because it's quick content. It's disappearing content in a lot of ways. They can put up content that disappears within a.
Is it though?
Yeah, no, it's not. Is it? No. That's what they think. That's what they think. Yeah.
But that obviously goes to a server and is stored, right?
Yeah, it's stored, and it's stored for a period of time, and if need be, it can be accessed. Yeah.
And what is that period of time?
For something that is supposed to disappear, it could be up to 90 days to meet legal requirements. For things like stories that are supposed to disappear after 24 hours, they may be archived naturally or by default. They could be archived and could be sitting there forever. So people think they're gone. And they're actually just sitting in there.
Once it's on the internet, it's never gone.
Yeah, it's not gone.
Yeah, it's on there forever.
Yeah. Getting people to understand that though
I think a lot of adults don't understand that.
Yeah, it's really interesting how many people sort of find that surprising. So okay. Once it's on the internet, it's there. And if it's juicy, it's screenshot and everybody's got a copy on their phone.
I'm sure that happens in schools, doesn't it?
Oh, all the time.
And there's no real way to tell.
No. Snapchat tell you that they will let you know if someone's screenshot your stuff because it is supposed to disappear. But kids are really tricky and they work out very quickly how to screenshot without a record being sent to the person. Yeah.
Well, we won't talk about that because we don't want more people knowing that.
No, but they know. They know. We're not telling them anything, Shane. There's no secrets here.
We'll take a short break and be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us and thank you for liking and subscribing. We're here with Trish Munn from Eyes Open. And Eyes Open is a cyber safety company. And Trish, tell us what's new about the company.
Well, we've been going for 11 years now, or just over 11 years. And the last couple of years, we've actually been working very hard to write certificate courses. So we have just had a Certificate 4 and a Certificate 2 in social media safety approved by ASQA, which means that we now own the first qualifications in our industry.
Who should be interested in this sort of
these courses?
Certificate?
Yeah. So the Certificate 4 is pitched at educators, so it will be for teachers, guidance counsellors, social workers, and HR would be good too. People working in HR would benefit from knowing how to protect people on social media. The Certificate 2 is pitched at year 10, 11 and 12. So what our intention is that kids can actually learn how to protect themselves better and have a qualification that when they finish school will also open some doors for when they go to work for companies, being able to protect themselves and the company with being safer on social media.
So the Certificate 4 is really aimed at adults?
Yes. Yeah. So Certificate 4 is generally used for the people finishing with the Certificate 4 would be able to educate other people in this area. So
hence why
or
it would be
assist
useful
other people.
For HR and administrators.
And guidance counsellors. So when kids have things going on at school, the guidance counsellors are really fully equipped to be able to assist children to protect themselves or recognise and respond to social media issues.
Where can people find this course?
So watch this space. We're actually working with an RTO at the moment, but it will be available Australia-wide really soon. So we'll be announcing those places on our website and all our socials very shortly. So, yeah.
It's exciting.
It is very exciting. It's been a long journey.
So how long was this whole process?
Well, we've been researching for 11 years. So I actually flagged in 2012, I started talking about wanting to write a qualification, that I would like to research and write a qualification. When I met Dan in 2013, one of the big playing factors in me deciding he was going to be my husband was actually the fact that he was already working, writing units of competency for a Certificate 4. So I think it was maybe our first date that I said to him, can you do that for any industry or only the health industry? And when he told me that he could write units of competency for any industry, I asked him to marry me. Yeah, so it was a good addition to the Eyes Open social media family. Yeah.
And what prompted you to start this 11 years ago?
Well, I had teenage children. They wanted to use social media. We had lived down south and come back to Brisbane, and they wanted to be on social media to stay connected to their friends. And all I was seeing in the media was scary stories. And so I went looking for how to protect children, and there wasn't information out there. So what I did was I had been working in social media marketing, and I had done a whole stack of courses on how to make things go far and wide, so how to make things go viral. And I didn't love marketing, so I gave up my job and decided I would start a new job in a couple of weeks. And I think it was like 3 days later, I woke up with a really clear thought that actually I could use what I know about making things go viral, turn everything on its head, turn everything in reverse, and that would make things private. So then I went and had a look at every news article I could find and started writing some case studies on things that had gone wrong on social media and how people were being exploited. And what I found was that in every instance, a lack of privacy and security was a thing. So I then tested all the privacy settings. Back then it was only Facebook, but I tested all the privacy settings on Facebook and checked how I could make things private and kept tweaking it until I knew exactly what to set things to. I made a workshop around that. I ran it past a friend of mine who was a police officer in the UK, and we came up with that teaching people about privacy settings was a really good way to help people stay safer. So it sort of went from there. The original plan was actually just to run workshops on how to do Facebook privacy settings, teaching parents how to teach their children. And within 12 months I was teaching in schools, and it expanded. I think the first year was Facebook, the second year was Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. And the year after that it was exploded into lots of things that kids were using.
What age would you say that children are starting to use Snapchat?
Snapchat's ridiculously young. Like really little kids know how to use Snapchat. A lot of children are actually saying, even in primary school, so I teach down to prep, and I've had preps that have Snapchat on their iPad.
Is it the filters that
they love
really
the filters.
lures them in? Like the bunny ears and the whatever?
Yeah, they love the filters. And they're usually, in all honesty, I'm sure that the majority of children that are really young that are on it would have mum and dad and maybe cousins to send things to. But by sort of year 3, there is kids that are sending to friends and, spending quite a bit of time on Snapchat. So, it is one that's certainly being given to children very young. It's actually supposed to be an age minimum of 13. So,
which makes sense to me.
Yeah, but that's actually not, it's misunderstood, because it's not actually because it's a law or a legal or a safety thing, really, that it's 13. The reason that the age minimum is 13 is all around COPPA, which is the Children's Online Protection Policy Association or something along those lines. I actually never say it in there, I never extend it. But it's the COPPA Act, which is that organisations like tech companies are not allowed to save and store data about children under the age of 13 or 12 and under without parents' written permission to do so. And so rather than try to get a parent to say, yes, you can store information about my child, they just make the age.
Because it's easier.
Yeah.
Just make it 13.
13. Yeah. And then if the child lies and says that they're 13, because you can't actually even start an account that says you're 12. So if they lie and say they're 13, then the organisation is that they don't hold any responsibility for that. So, but organisations like Meta have got around that by Messenger Kids. You can put a child of any age onto Messenger Kids, but the parents actually create the account for the child, which is that a written agreement that the parent has given permission to collect information about children. So, so they're clever. Tech companies will continue to find ways to get
around it.
Or to get, people using social media sites.
If you were to use a child-friendly site, is the level of advertising involved on those basically the same or different? Or
look, everything is designed by people. Like all of the people coding and creating these sites, they're people behind it. So whilst they can have every intention of not putting anything inappropriate in front of children, it happens. It happens. So there is no place on social media that you can guarantee your child's not going to see something inappropriate. So even if it's pitched at younger children, you still need to keep an eye on it, because there is every chance that something gets through. Yeah. And there's certainly been many cases in the media about inappropriate advertising being seen on children's sites.
Right.
So, and clickable stuff. There's something inappropriate comes up and the children click it, and then the next thing you know, they're on a horrible site that they shouldn't be looking at. So children, the age, the research shows that children are actually seeing inappropriate stuff very young. Usually by 10, they've seen something. 8 to 10, they've seen something inappropriate on the internet.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid, we saw something at 10 and it was a magazine.
It was a magazine. It was underneath there.
I'm not putting that in this.
No, I actually talk about that all the time. I talk about the fact that back in our day, if we were looking at something inappropriate, it was a magazine, and usually a young person had found it underneath a mattress or something like that.
Right, exactly. You told your brothers, or yeah.
And curiosity. They're kids. They've seen something that's naughty or that they're not expecting.
Yeah.
And there's the excitement in that. But the thing is that was as far as it went. And, folded up, they realise it says June on the front. Oh, maybe this comes out every month. I'll check back here next month, But that's still all they're going to get. Whereas what our children are dealing with is they see something inappropriate. They're still children. They're still curious. They're surprised. There's an element of excitement to that. And they go, wow, and then they click it and it takes them to more stuff. So very quickly they can go from something that would have been in a centerfold of a magazine to something that's really, really explicit. So technology, like there is our age bracket, some people still have that, I saw it when I was a kid, it doesn't matter.
But
it's very different
because
today.
It could take them somewhere where someone's on the other end of the line.
Yes.
Like some sort of chatbot or something like that.
Some sort of chat or some sort of, actual person.
Yes.
Or, or it's something really explicit that they're then thinking is okay to replicate or, there's a whole, it's a different ball game and it's very, very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
So do you have any hot tips for parents that we can probably I'm sure you've got lots.
No, I was hoping you'd ask that. And this is a really great time to ask that because the number one thing that we can do, particularly around that inappropriate stuff and which helps with predators as well, is to open the lines of communication with your child. And I smile and laugh when I say that because when I started this business, I always used to say, have you got a teenager? It's super easy to keep the lines of communication open. Not.
And then you had one, and then you had a teenager?
Yeah, no, I had a teenager. No, I used to always say it tongue in cheek because I had teenagers and it's not easy to keep that line of communication open. But what is really important is to be talking about those, breaking down the barrier of children feeling like they can't go to adults if they've seen something inappropriate, because when they see something inappropriate, it could be that somebody's deliberately showing a child that with the intention of the child keeping a secret, and then the child finds it even harder to go to an adult when something goes wrong. So if we open the conversation with children today, as soon as you've heard this, talk to your children and say, look, there's 100% guarantee that you are going to see something inappropriate on the internet. I'm not mad if you didn't go looking for it. If you went looking for it, we're going to have a conversation. But if something just pops up or an ad pops up or you click the wrong thing, or even if somebody tricks you into opening something and you were talking to somebody that you didn't know, and I know we've discussed that, but if you see something that you know you're not supposed to see, can you please talk to me so that we can sort it out, so I can help you, because I'm here for you. I'm here because I care. I'm not going to flip out. It is so, so, so critically important to start those conversations with kids, because I have kids telling me all the time, every single primary school session, the kids tell me if they told their adults that they saw something inappropriate on the internet, their parents would take away their devices. Most parents wouldn't. Most parents actually don't even think like that.
No, but the kids think that. The
kids have made up this story in their head. And when I ask them, have your parents actually said that? They say, no, I just know that that's how my parents would work. But what it actually is that if the kid's going looking for it, the parents are going to be upset. But if the child stumbles across it, parents are here to help. But that communication has not been given. So we need to fix that. That's a really critical thing to fix, is your child's understanding of what your expectations are around technology. And talking, if your child can tell you everything that they see, even when they see inappropriate stuff, even if they thought it was really interesting, they often have questions around it too. You get to be the expert.
I'm sure they do have questions.
Yeah. There's so much opportunity to be your child.
Questions.
Absolutely. But there's so much opportunity to be your child's champion in this space. Like you can get cool with social media, the kids love talking about it. It's one of the things that's really exciting when I go into schools is the teachers will often say, oh, sorry if they're a bit rowdy. And then afterwards the kids say, the teachers are saying, they were so good. I'm talking about social media. So I'm talking about their world and stuff they love. And I've got a few party tricks that I, show the kids things that they didn't know. That's always, a good winner with the young people.
So where can the people out there find you and your company? So let us know.
So we've got a website, Eyes Open Social Media, and we're also on social media. I'm pretty slack at posting on social media, but I will get better, I promise. I post the important stuff on social media, but I'm busy posting Shane and his music on social media rather than my own stuff.
But once this Certificate 4 is up and running and it is in institutions where it'll be delivered, I'm sure that you will post it.
The social media will be.
You'll post it on the social media. So please, if you are a parent, if you're an auntie, you're an uncle, go and find Eyes Open on social media and like their page and follow them and get the necessary tools.
Yeah, great.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Shane. Thank you.